You're listening to The Basement Podcast. The Basement airs live every Wednesday night from 10 p.m. to midnight on 88.7 WMMT FM Mountain Community Radio, the non-industrial giant in the mountains. WMMT is the non-commercial community radio service of Appleshop Incorporated, a not-for-profit art and education center in Whitesburg, Kentucky. To stream live or to learn more about WMMT, you can visit www.wmmt.org.
Is everybody present?
I'm here.
I'm here.
All right. It's 11:05 p.m. You are tuned to 88.7 WMMT Mountain Community Radio from the heart of Central Appalachia. And this is The Basement, your weekly destination for the strange, the weird, the odd, and the incomprehensible. And I'm Rance Garrison, being joined by my lovely wife, Andrea.
Hello.
And my good buddy, Keaton Lawson from Pennington Gap, Virginia, by way of the old-fashioned telephone.
I like your carnival barker type entrance there.
Well, you know, I'm getting better than I used to be. I'm growing, man. All right. Well, let's dive right in this evening. We are discussing conspiracy theories. So, okay, I don't even know where to start this conversation out at. To be honest with you, I should be more prepared than I am, but, you know, I'm not.
Well, it's a big topic, and there's a lot of conspiracies about a lot of things.
Yeah, and so we've kind of narrowed it down to three specific conspiracy like we could make multiple, you know, episodes about this particular topic. Like this could be ongoing for a long time if we wanted to do that.
You could have a show just about this.
Yes, because there are so many conspiracy theories out there in the world, and so it's kind of like difficult to talk about all of them in one show. So we're just going to narrow it down to three tonight, and we're going to talk about those three specifically. And then, you know, that might open up conversations later on. So the three we're going to be kind of talking about tonight is this is the way this show is going to work this evening. Each one of us have chosen a specific conspiracy theory that we're going to dabble in a little bit tonight. And I have chosen for mine the simulation hypothesis, which is the idea that we exist within that the universe itself is not as it seems, that it is a computer simulation that is being run on a supercomputer at some point in the far distant future.
That's heavy, man.
That's a heavy one. That's a really heavy one. And Andy, what have you chosen to share with us to bring to class tonight?
Well, I'm going to talk about the hollow earth theory. I've got a general rundown of what the theory is supposed to be about, but also some accounts from people who said they've been there and are from there.
Wait, you've got accounts from people who say that they've been to the the inverted side of the earth, like
yes.
They've gone down the hole.
Yes.
And they've come back to tell the tale.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Keaton, what are you talking about tonight, man?
Talk about an ancient and some would say still present secret organization, the Illuminati.
Oh, my God. I hope they're not listening because they're scary, man. Illuminati stuff, most of these don't actually scare me. Illuminati stuff is actually a little bit frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I chose it. Like out of all the conspiracies out there, I mean, I wouldn't say it's the most probable, but to me, it's the most fascinating, and it can kind of get you down a rabbit hole of thought.
Oh my gosh! I mean, are they back in? Well, we won't go there tonight. We won't make this political. All right, we'll try to avoid that. But okay, so I guess I'll start with mine. So here's the basic idea behind and this is a very heavy topic. So I think it's good to go ahead and get it out of the way first. Because it is so heavy to think about the idea that the universe is a simulation. Basically, this is the train of thought behind movies like The Matrix and to a lesser degree like Total Recall and things of that nature. The idea basically is that reality is in fact a computer simulation of which I'm not saying this off the top of my head. I'm not this smart, guys, but I'm reading this off of the internet. But the simulation hypothesis, this is a quick definition, contends that reality is in fact a simulation, most likely a computer simulation, of which we, the simulants, the Sims, we're the Sims in here, are totally unaware. Some versions of the theory rely on the development of simulated reality, a fictional technology, and the hypothesis has been a central plot device of many science fiction stories and films. So, basically, that's basically the rundown is the simulation hypothesis states that the universe as we perceive it is actually a computer generated simulation, and that we are unaware of the fact that it's a computer generated simulation. And we live inside essentially the Matrix without awareness that we are here. And this is getting into some very actually there are serious scientists who believe in this theory. This isn't just this is a little bit different from a conspiracy theory because it's actually backed up by some credible scientists who actually believe that a version of this theory might in fact be the true nature of reality, which is interesting in and of itself. There's a scientist by the name of Nick Bostrom, and the simulation theory began with him in 2003. This is where it officially began. Now, science fiction authors and people like that have been talking about this idea for a long time, going back, of course, most notably to Philip K. Dick, which I want to get into talking about him in just a second. But we'll get to him. Let's hold on. And I'm sorry because I get really into this. I really got into this theory for about a week there. I did nothing but read up on it.
Well, see, the only time I've heard about it is like The Matrix, pretty much. Like that's what comes to mind to me.
It goes really deep, man. It goes really deep. So basically, Nick Bostrom published a paper. He's a scientist. He published a paper in 2003. This was a scholarly paper, and he says that we have interesting empirical reasons to believe that a certain disjunctive claim about the world is true, and one of those propositions being that we are almost certainly living in a simulation. Those are his words. That's a quote from him. And he and other writers, they said that there are several reasons why the simulation hypothesis might be valid, and there's a logical proof that goes as follows. And this is hard to follow for me, and I don't consider myself I'm not a smart man, Jenny. Okay, but I know what love is. But okay, this is his logical proof of the simulation theory. A technologically mature post-human civilization would have enormous computing power. And based on this empirical fact, the simulation argument shows that at least one of the following must be true. Either A, the fraction of human-level civilizations that reach a post-human stage is very close to zero. B, the fraction of post-human civilizations that are interested in running ancestor simulations is very close to zero. Or C, the fraction of all people with our kind of experience that are living in a simulation is very close to 1. Now, what that means is that basically one of those three things must be true. Either at some point in the far, far future, a post-human robotic civilization has reached a stage where they can run a computer simulation of their ancestors to learn more about their own history, right? Or to just experiment with different variables and see what would have happened if this had happened, or what would have happened if this had happened. Either that must be true, or and if that is true, then we are probably almost certainly already living in a simulation. Or most civilizations never get to that point. Like they go extinct before they ever get there. It has to be one or the other. Or the third option is that if they were to get to that point, they would never run a simulation, which seems unlikely since we already kind of are trying to run simulations right now. You see this in video games like The Sims. There actually is a very basic universe simulation program that has already been developed as a piece of software that allows scientists to go
what
in.
What does that mean?
Well, it doesn't use like variables like human minds or artificial intelligence, but what it does do is it's a simulation software that allows scientists to look and sort of see the variables that were in play at the birth of the universe. It's all very, very highly, I guess, mathematical. Yeah. So. Yeah, that's something to consider, man. The basic idea here is that it has to be one of those three options. One of those must be true.
Well, according to them and their theories.
According to the theory, one of those options must be true. Yeah.
I think it's a bit more open than three choices.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm not saying that like I'm hardcore, like this is the truth,
no.
but and I want to. Yeah, we should probably disclaimer that tonight. Like when we talk about these theories, we're not sitting here saying I believe this one, and Andy doesn't believe necessarily that the Earth is hollow.
No.
And Keaton doesn't necessarily believe in the Illuminati, but these are just the theories that really interest us and have intrigued us. These are our personal conspiracy theory. That we have kind of like gotten a little bit fascinated by. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let me get straight what you just said. Okay. Is it beings, higher beings in the future that is making the simulation for us to experience in the present?
Right.
Is that right?
Yes. They like the idea here is that, okay. And this also ties into a lot of other things, okay? This ties into things like, I think that what really fascinates me about this theory is that I kind of want it to be true because it would beautifully explain in a scientific manner all matter of supernatural phenomenon that we can't explain right now.
It's just like they're hacking into the system, right?
Well, the idea behind this is, okay, imagine... Oh my gosh. Okay, this is going to get heavy for a minute, guys, and I'm trying to figure out if I'm even smart enough to talk about this because I don't think I am. Okay,
probably not.
But I'm trying to do my best on a limited on limited brain power. But okay, this is basically kind of how it goes. The people or the beings or the being or whatever you want to say. Some people think that the being is a type of God. Some people think it is an intelligent, highly evolved intelligence. But the being that is running the simulation exists outside of time and space as we perceive them. Okay?
Sounds a little bit like God.
Like God, yes. And the idea is that what has actually happened is that our post-human technology has evolved to the point that it would be that from our point of view, it would be practically God, okay?
Right.
Or practically a God of some kind, that it would be that powerful, that post-human civilization, that technology, as it becomes more and more intelligence-driven, would get to the point that from our limited human understanding, it would seem like magic, basically, okay?
Yeah.
And so what has happened, and there's a very interesting thing, I know me and you've talked about him a little bit. The philosopher and theologian Teilhard de Chardin, there's a guy from France listening tonight. You probably know how to pronounce it. I don't. Okay, but basically, he said that he believed in this thing called the omega point, and he said that was the point in the far future that all of reality was being drawn towards. Okay. That the purpose of the universe didn't start out in the past. It's at some point in the far future. And that everything that happens is kind of being pulled towards that point.
A great magnet in the center of reality.
Exactly. That's a great analogy. And so I just dropped my pen. What this theory is stating is that has already happened, right? Like the future already exists. Okay.
Okay.
And because the far future, they are able, the people or the beings or the being who lives in the far future is able to transcend everything that came beforehand, right?
Right.
And so because of that, all of our consciousness actually exists in that realm. And we are living through the simulation right now for some reason that we don't know.
So it's kind of like we decided to play a video game and then forgot that we're playing it.
Exactly. And it really reminds me of like Alan Watts's his talk. Alan Watts talking about you know, the many, how does he describe that? You know what I'm trying to say.
God.
Yeah, it really reminds me of some of Alan Watts' ideas that
Well, it sounds like a technological version of Hinduism.
yeah.
You know, like there's one player of the game, and like one godhead, controlling all things, one player to the simulation. It's similar
Yeah.
to like ancient metaphysics, but it's just in modern language. That's
Exactly. And I think it's so strange that you can take an idea which is actually a very ancient idea. This is the simulation hypothesis technically is sort of Hinduism and Eastern spirituality repackaged for the nerd generation, right?
Right.
That's
right.
really all it is, man. But you take it and you put it in those terms and people start eating it up. It's fascinating to me.
Well, it's what it sounds like, an ancient philosophy that's just dressed up with some new language.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
it's fascinating either way you look at it, I think.
Mm-hmm. And you got to kind of wonder, like, is that just the process that people have been doing as long as people have been trying to figure out what we're in?
Well,
I mean, do they just wrap it in the language and the ideas of their time, and there are
I
these
think
like
so.
common universal truths that just get wrapped up in new language?
Well, see, what they used to call, back in the day when people say that, people were demon possessed, people call that like serious mental illness.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
But it could have been, the same symptoms, just, different ways of looking at it.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's happening with, that train of thought. I mean, I don't know. That's what it seems to me,
Well, I'm going to say this one last thing, and then I'm going to move on to the hollow earth theory. But there are several pieces of evidence that people point to that our universe is actually consciousness-driven. If we lived in a consciousness-driven universe, that would be another key element of the simulation hypothesis, right? That consciousness is actually more powerful than matter, that matter doesn't actually exist. And so among these evidence that reality is consciousness-driven, people say near-death experiences, that essentially what's happening is that people are leaving the simulation and waking up in the real world, and that's what a near-death experience is.
Hopefully it's not like the Matrix where you're like plugged into the back of your head in that little incubator with jelly in it.
Yeah, I would rather not wake up in a jelly incubator and then have to go fight giant robots. I hope
hopefully that's not the.
But you'd
that's
be
not the real
Keanu
world we're
Reeves.
waking
that does not sound like the heaven they taught me about in Sunday school, y'all.
up. No, far from it.
The other one is past lives. That evidence of people having past lives ties into the simulation hypothesis, in that people are saying that, okay, well, what has happened is they've left the simulation and then they've come back into the simulation and they're remembering the last time they played, right? Like a game.
Right.
And so they're just remembering their prior, the last level they played through.
So it's like it's like a game where you have a creative character. They played it as one creative character, and then came back as another creative character, and then remembered it.
Yeah, man, like Skyrim.
It's like Skyrim.
Like Skyrim. And then the last argument that for a simulated universe / a consciousness-driven universe is the finely tuned universe argument. Basically, this states that the universe is incredibly finely tuned for the physical existence of matter, let alone life. For example, universal constants cancel out all of the vacuum energy in the universe to an amazing accuracy of 1 part in 10 to the 115th power. A deviation in the expansion rate of the early universe of 1 part in a billion in either direction would have caused the universe to immediately collapse or fly apart so fast that the stars could never have formed. So basically what this is saying is that our universe is so incredibly fine-tuned to support the development of conscious organisms, such as all of us, that that it hints that we are in some sort of simulated reality where these conditions have been carefully laid out in order to make this thing work. That, like, if that was left to pure chance, it wouldn't be as it is.
So it's one tiny piece, and that's like the butterfly effect.
Yeah.
If one tiny piece was to be removed from it, it would all collapse.
Exactly.
That fine tuned.
Exactly.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah. And also, one word about Philip K. Dick. He was one of the earliest sci-fi writers who talked about this, and he said that he had a very vivid experience one day where he caught a glimpse beyond the Matrix, and that actually inspired his Valis trilogy. I'm a big fan of his work, and if you start reading into him and some of the ideas that played into his books and his short stories and things like that, what you'll come to find is that he drew a lot of this from this very mystical experience he had, which he believed was actually a glimpse beyond the Matrix, so to speak. He had this big pink light come to him, and it told him that the universe was being being run by dark powers, and that he was actually trapped inside of it, and he needed to figure out a way to transcend the universe around him, which was not real. And that was Philip K. Dick had that experience.
Well, see, that's Buddhism.
Yeah.
That's Buddhism in a nutshell, right there. Transcendent matter.
Essentially.
That's what their goal is. I think
Yeah.
That seems similar too.
Yeah, it's really interesting, man, this theory, and it ties into so many, that you can find this line of thought plays into so many ancient philosophies and ancient religions and cultures and things like that, but just with different language. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, what are we going to be calling this stuff in 100 years? Like, how are we going to be talking about it then? It's interesting. I don't know if you would call it a conspiracy theory or not. In some respects, I guess it is a conspiracy theory. If who's running who, but by who? If the universe is a simulation, who's behind it?
That's the forever question mark.
Yeah,
that always has been, always will be. I think.
But moving on, the other conspiracy theory we were going to talk about was Andy was going to talk a little bit about the hollow Earth theory here tonight.
Okay, so when you're in elementary school, you learn that the Earth is made up of different layers. There's the crust, the upper mantle, the lower mantle, the outer core, and the inner core, right?
Correct.
Well, this theory says that that's wrong, and that the Earth is actually hollow, and about 800 to 850 feet below the crust where we are is a completely different civilization there, a different world with its own sun that is within our Earth.
Okay.
There have been people who say they're from here and say that they have been here through different, tunnels. There's supposedly one at the North Pole and one at the South Pole and at different places around the world where you can go in and enter into this inner Earth. Supposedly there's a big continent, one giant continent, and one giant ocean. And on this, there's different civilizations, different ancient tribes of people. The people are apparently giants because the air is so pure in the inner Earth. People can grow taller, plants grow taller, animals grow bigger. Trees can be up to 1,700 feet tall, I read. People can be up to 15 feet tall. There's extinct animals here, mammoths, different types of creatures that have lived on the Earth but are now extinct here. There's different islands. There's all kinds of fun stuff, apparently, supposedly, in the inside of our Earth.
So they're pretty much saying that there's dinosaurs there?
Yeah. But there's apparently no carnivorous animals. Everything there is really peaceful. The only animals that are there are animals that are herbivore.
So heaven is in the Earth?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's the theory, yeah. That it's like a paradise there.
Well, see, I saw some cheesy, it was like a B movie on Netflix. It was about the Hollow Earth, and it was like Nazis had really went in seclusion into the Hollow Earth, and they rode around on T-Rexes, and they were just planning their,
Well, that is
planning their return.
there is part of the theory that says that, like, you know, like for instance, like Hitler supposedly went to the inner Earth and is still there, and a lot of different people have went there and are still there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They also said that Hitler went to the moon, too. They took all the Nazis to the moon.
Wait, they took all the
just-
Nazis to the
people love-
moon?
Yeah, people love to think that the Nazis have went somewhere, and they're hiding somewhere. The moon, the inside the Earth, you know, I don't know. And that's a pretty out there theory, the Hollow Earth.
Yeah. There's a couple of people I want to talk about here. There's a guy by the name of Billy Fay Woodard, who claims that he and his twin sister are from the inner Earth, that they were abandoned shortly after being born in a park. They were abandoned in a like a recycling bin, and a park ranger and a police officer heard them crying and found them. They were adopted by a family. When the twins were young, a lot of strange things happened. There was an instance where they were supposedly in a restaurant, and the twins were kind of talking to each other and stuff. They were really small, a few years old. And a guy sitting behind them in another booth turned around and said, "Are you aware your children are speaking in an ancient language? I study ancient languages, and this is an extinct language."
Whoa.
And just some strange things happened with Billy and his sister. Later on, when they're about 6 years old, his sister is taken away from him, from the family. She is taken to the military, where some experiments are done and what have you. They tell the family that she has died during these experiments, but they find out later that that wasn't true. According to Billy, a man from the inner Earth in a spaceship came and saved her and took her back to the inner Earth. Later on in life, Billy joins the military and is hand-selected to be a part of this project within Area 51. They take him down into this space, down in the Earth, and tell him that he's going to be part of a voyage and that he's going to go to the inner Earth. He goes to the inner Earth and meets back up with his twin sister, who is there. He apparently sees these giants, these different types of animals that were supposed to be extinct but are in the inner Earth, all this different plant life. It's really peaceful there. He had some health issues, some reoccurring tonsillitis and some other afflictions that he claims were healed once he went to the inner Earth because the air there is so pure.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's still alive. He was born in the early 1950s, and he's still alive.
So wait, so he said that going to the inner Earth cured his health problems.
Yeah.
And can you look this guy, like, is this, I mean, obviously you found out about this guy online.
Yeah, there's a lot more information that I'm not going to go into about him because I have some other stuff I want to talk about.
Does he have like a website or a book?
I'm not sure, but you can just look up Billy with an I-E, Fay Woodard, and you'll find him.
Maybe he'd be on the show sometime. I'd love to talk to him.
That'd be interesting.
There's also instances of people kind of stumbling upon the inner Earth, like a man by the name of Admiral Richard Byrd. This happened in 1947. He claimed to be the first person to fly over the North and South Pole, and apparently he went into the inner Earth through one of the tunnels at one of the poles. He went into the inner Earth. He saw all these extinct animals again, and these tribes of people. He said that there was an island that was called the City of Eden, and that it was built on and around the original Garden of Eden.
Wow.
He said that he talked to the people there, and they told him that they had kind of selected him to come visit because they were afraid of kind of being wiped out with, technology, and that they wanted some people who were kind of, I guess, in a way, sort of pure of heart to start communications between the outer and the inner Earths. They kept him there, and they showed him around. They, fed him, and I guess some health problems were cleared up for him too. They sort of escorted him back out when it was time for him to go and showed him how to exit out. And I guess, according to him, I think he made a couple of other trips.
See, this is like with the simulation hypothesis. I kind of hope this one's true.
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound too bad. I heard something about it. I read online. I don't know too much about this. But, yeah, that the poles, the entrances, on the South and North Pole, and like the UN, according to these people, like the UN have blocked it off, and no civilians ever can go there because there's like a gravity change, and like you can go straight down. You know what I mean? Like things like that. Weird gravity, like it's like on both ends, like you could thread the earth through a string.
Now, I do want to take just 1 second. One of our listeners just commented on our Facebook page, Alex Scales from Cincinnati. He said that there is actually a monument devoted to the hollow Earth theory in Cincinnati, in the I guess in the Hamilton neighborhood. I've never been to Cincinnati, Alex, and I know you're listening, but I've never actually been there, so I'm not sure exactly whereabouts Hamilton is. But it's in Hamilton in Cincinnati, and this guy named John Sims had this monument erected. So it's actually it looks like it's, I'm looking at the photograph. He shared a photograph on our Facebook page. If you would like, you can go to facebook.com/WMMT basement and check out the photo. It's a nifty little monument there they've built to the hollow Earth. It's got a little globe on top of it with a hole in it. It looks kind of like a 3D donut.
Yeah. Like at both ends of the earth.
Well, see, like, what's interesting is, like, the inner Earth is supposed to be within where we live, and, like, the city of Eden that I talked about is, according to Admiral Byrd, was approximately about 800 feet below, I'm wanting to say Arkansas, if I'm not wrong. Mm-hmm. It's in the earth, though, but it's below somewhere within the United States.
So the Garden of Eden is underneath Texarkana, basically. That's Little Rock.
According to some folks.
Billy Clinton grew up right on top of it, didn't even know.
Oh, he's from there.
The last guy I want to talk about is a guy named Dallas Thompson, who went on Coast to Coast AM as a guest. And he talked about how he learned about the inner Earth after a really bad car accident he was in. He said he was in this really bad car wreck. The wreck was so bad that the roof of the car touched the floor of the car, but he survived it. And he talked about how I think he said that he saw a lot, and it told him all of this information about the inner Earth. And he was going to go on an expedition there. And he was talking about this expedition on Coast to Coast AM, right? This was around 2003. Well, the guy disappears. He disappears. He says he's going to go on this expedition. No one's seen him since.
Wait, did he attempt to go or did he just disappear?
He said that he was prepared to go. He said that he had technology that would allow him to go there alone. It was like kind of like a one-person helicopter type thing. And he said that he was ready to go and that he was going to do this expedition. And he disappeared after talking about saying he was going to go. He vanished.
When was this?
Around 2003.
And no one's seen him since.
Yeah.
I bet the Illuminati got him. Either that or he made it. Either the Illuminati got him to stop him from going, or he totally made it to the center of the earth and he's hanging out with dinosaurs and Hitler. I mean,
and
giants.
Big people.
Giant big people.
And he doesn't have any health problems.
He has no health problems and no need for health insurance.
Well, see, those two don't sound like most conspiracies y'all talked about, it doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, if like worst comes to worst, I can handle either one of them.
Yeah, I could handle both of those being true. But
When I do have something a little dark to add to it that I was reading too. There are some people who say that they think that there's going to be not an explosion with our sun, but something similar that is going to happen within the next few years, around 2021.
oh my God, that's only 5
And
years.
they claim that they have talked to the inner Earth people, and the inner Earth people assure them that they have enough flying, spaceships, we'll call them, to evacuate everyone who is pretty much pure of heart enough to come there. No murderers or anything like that.
But they let Hitler in.
Well, that's debatable. Some people say that he went, I don't know. But they say that they have enough craft to be able to come here and evacuate everyone to the inner Earth where we can all live happily within a week's time.
Wow.
So they could get everybody from the inner Earth to. They could evacuate all of the population of the globe within a week, and we could
Yes.
all go to the inner Earth if anything bad were to happen.
Yes. The ones who
tell them
are...
to come on.
All right, guys. I just realized I have to take a quick break and play a quick underwriter. Keaton, you just hang out on the line. Andy, you just sit tight. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about the Illuminati. Part by Southern Steel Tattoo and Piercing, with locations in Pikeville, Kentucky and Wise, Virginia. Southern Steel has provided professional tattoo and piercing services since 2003 and is located at 242 2nd Street in downtown Pikeville and 602 Norton Road in Wise. For more information or to set up an appointment, you can call 606-432-8282, or you can check out their website, southernsteeltattooinc.com. And by WMMT's listeners and supporters who keep community radio alive. All right, we're back. Keaton, you still here?
I'm here.
Okay. We're going to talk now for the remainder of the show. You're going to talk about the Illuminati. We're going to hit on that conspiracy theory. We've just, like I said, I wanted to do a broader conspiracy theory show. I didn't want to focus on just one, but there's only so much time that we have, and so we can't cover them all. So we picked three, and I think we picked three pretty good ones.
Pretty deep one. Yeah.
And this one is the one that is that's scary.
Okay, I'm not going to go into like great detail about it. I don't have a computer in front of me or anything like that. But what is it? What do you know, or what have you heard?
Basically,
It just in passing about the Illuminati.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
This is what I know about the Illuminati, is that basically now there was a real Illuminati. I'm wanting to say, was it Bulgaria? I don't remember. I do know that there was a real organization called the Illuminati during the Renaissance era, and basically they were a secret society, and they were trying to promote the ideas of liberty and personal liberty and secularism and things of that nature during what was a very religious time where personal liberty was somewhat constricted. And basically the theory, the secret society of the Illuminati eventually went underground. They kind of stopped their operations at some point. I think the theory goes that a lot of those ideas found their way into government, and particularly the United States government after the original Illuminati. I'm having trouble saying Illuminati. Illuminati. But basically, the idea is that today the Illuminati has actually, in fact, continued to exist, and they operate behind the scenes as a global network of very rich, very powerful people who control our society from behind the scenes, that we have no real free choice in our democratic process, that everything is actually predetermined, and that is, in fact, controlled by a very small group of very wealthy and powerful people. Am I on the right track here with this?
That's right on the money.
Okay.
Yeah, and that is it's kind of scary to think about, isn't it?
Oh yeah. And I think what makes it really, really scary is that when you look around at some of the facts of our daily life, like you look at the media, and I think that the major media I think that most of the major media that we have in this country is owned by like what, 5 or 6 corporations?
Yeah, like a handful.
Yeah. And when you look at the people who are funding the elections and things like that, who are the big campaign donors, it's always the same contributors and things like that. Very, very rich, very powerful people kind of pulling the strings.
Yeah, that's what the theory is, that there is just enough people you can fit into one room that really control everything. Big Brother.
Yeah.
The whole thing that they say you have the illusion of picking your political offices, but they're the ones really doing it.
Yeah.
This topic actually makes me nervous.
I mean, you never know, they might be listening in, right?
I know, it actually makes me a little nervous because it's I'm not saying that it's likely, but it's possible.
Well, I mean, out of all of the theories that we've talked about, this one is both the most likely and the most terrifying. Like it's a double hitter, man. Because without a shadow of a doubt, the ultra rich have more power than everyday working Joes,
Right.
like us. I mean, and so without a shadow of a doubt, that's already a factual statement that, like super rich people have a lot of power, right?
Right.
And so
it's viewed just like they're playing society like chess pawn.
yeah.
Just doing that, and even the conspiracy theories go deep with this. That's why I can't even start. I mean, if people are interested, obviously you can go online. Just Google this, and you'll get an endless amount of things to read about. I just wanted to say that it is definitely a terrifying subject.
Oh yeah, it's and I think that what I don't know, man. Me and you've had a lot of conversations about this, in private.
Yeah.
But it really is just one of those situations where people are kind of scared right now anyway at this point in history, and it's a strange time to be alive. But when you look at the sort of our currency and things like that, you see these ancient symbols on the dollar bill, for example, the all-seeing eye, and that's
Right.
one of the Illuminati
That's
symbols.
the main symbol, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the main symbol.
And then
that's supposed to be associated with them, yeah.
and there's also the theory that they are really involved in the music industry. That's one of the big one of the big conspiracy theories about the Illuminati is that
Well, all entertainment. The mainstream music industry, mainstream Hollywood films, mainstream media, all the stuff that gets pumped 24/7 is, they say that it has to go through their approval before it ever, makes anything of it. That has to go through the system of, okay, we approve that agenda and that one and that one, and it's I hope that's not the case.
well, I hope it's not the case too, but I think it's also kind of scary because you can say that, like, when you look at like the kind of the music industry and some of the mainstream music that's out there and mainstream entertainment, it sometimes it seems really shallow, man. Like it just seems like it doesn't have any depth or any substance to it. It's just like, oh, let's all just have a real good time and not worry about anything that's going on in the world. And it almost seems like
there's nothing but ad promotion and consumer society. It's like all that's pumped in the mainstream. Buy this. You're not, you're not worthy if you don't have this thing.
Yeah.
And that seems like an agenda run by, I don't know, greedy people.
But that's the thing too. Like, I think that the other side of this argument is that maybe these things that appear to be evidence of the Illuminati, it could just be evidence that people tend to be greedy.
Yeah, that's true.
And either way, if people even if we do just live in a world where there are some very greedy people who are just doing whatever they can to make money, that's still scary.
Yeah.
That's still scary, and it's still like self-evidently true that is the case sometimes with some people.
whether it's a secret society or not.
Yeah.
That is what's pumped to the masses constantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really know what to say about it now. I got nervous as the show went on to talk about it.
Did you get scared that they were going to come track you down? Are you still with us? Keaton?
Sorry, I walked out of cell service.
Oh,
I started running through the yard. I'm sorry.
well, don't be a crazy man now. They're not onto you yet. They're not onto you yet, man.
Oh, I hope not. Whew.
For a second, I was like, did they get him?
Just hang up and never see me again.
There's that guy down in Lee County talking about the Illuminati. We gotta nab him.
They dragged me down to the hollow earth.
Well, we are at the 1150 point, and I think with the Illuminati, it's such a deep conspiracy theory that I think we could probably dedicate a whole show to just that one if we sat down and did the research on it.
Yeah, totally.
And so I think maybe that's something we'll do in the future. I think next episode, just to give you all a little evidence of what's ahead. Excuse me, baby? Oh, yeah. That's what I was about to say. Next episode, of course, there's a big movie coming out on March 26th that I've been very, very excited about.
Me too.
And that is Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice.
There we go.
And I'm a huge Batman fan. I've been a Batman fan since I was a little kid. I loved Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. It's like my favorite movie trilogy ever.
What about Batman and Robin? That's a fine film.
Don't care much for that one. But the Dark Knight trilogy and Tim Burton's Batman movies they hold a special place in my heart too. But I am excited to see how Zack Snyder is going to handle the character. We're going to do next week, in honor of Dawn of Justice, we are going to be talking superheroes.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
I don't know what we're going to talk about in regards to superheroes, but we're going to be talking superheroes, comic books, and just basically nerdy things in general, right? That's kind of like what we all kind of agreed on?
Yeah, I'm in agreement.
Okay. All right. But it's 11:52. We've only got 8 minutes left. I'm going to play us off with a song, as always, and then you'll be listening to Spectrum with William S. Trebell here on 88.7 WMMT. And I will be uploading this episode to our YouTube channel either tomorrow or Friday. So be on the lookout for that. All you people who listened online tonight, it's been great to have you. Keaton, thanks for calling. Andy, thanks for being here. And just want to say it's wonderful to have you finally talking on the air.
Well, you're welcome.
I think that people are going to just fall in love with my cute little wife, who was very shy for a long time and would not talk to me on the radio.
Well, I'm game for this. Like 3 people having a conversation. I just figured there might be just me and you, a little bit of, like spots where there'd be awkward silences and it'd be weird.
Just stare at each other.
Yeah. But it's been great talking to you guys. I hope that the listeners, if you guys have listened tonight, we hope you really enjoyed the show. And we look forward to bringing it to you all again next week, as we will be talking about superheroes in honor of Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. That's going to be a fun episode. Going to lighten it up just a little bit. We're not always serious around here.
No,
not at all. So I'm trying to pull up a song to play us off with. You guys got any suggestions for me this evening?
Free Falling by Tom Petty. I'm kidding.
Why not? People love Tom Petty. Who doesn't love Tom Petty, man?
Hey, it can be like a pun too, like falling into the inner earth.
Free falling into the hollow earth.
Tom Petty is the stoner uncle of America, and everybody him and Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson's the great uncle. Tom Petty's the uncle, and everybody loves both of them. So I don't think anybody's gonna complain if we play a little Tom Petty, man.
Let's do it.
All right. This is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers with Free Fallin'. You've been listening to The Basement on 88.7 WMMT. We hope you enjoyed the show. quick shout out to all of our online listeners. We've got listeners in Florida tonight, in Indian Trail, North Carolina, Indian Hill, Belfry, Kentucky, Winchester, Kentucky, Louisville, over in St. Louis, Missouri. Had a listener over in France and Germany. So we're reaching an international audience, man. This is big time, y'all. But it's been great. It's been great hanging out with y'all here. It's been great hanging out with all of our listeners and everybody who interacted with us on social media tonight. Go and be sure to follow our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/WMMTbasement. Also check us out on Tumblr, WMMTbasement.tumblr.com. And we are also now on YouTube. So go to YouTube, search for The Basement on WMMT, and make sure you subscribe and like our videos because we want to be famous, y'all.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo! All right, guys. It's been great talking to y'all. Until next time. Love one another, lift each other up, and take it easy. Here is Mr. Tom Petty with a little song called Free Fallin'.
You've been listening to the Basement Podcast. Be sure to check out WMMTbasement.tumblr.com for more episodes and like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/WMMTbasement. You can learn more about WMMT by visiting www.wmmt.org.